Welcome to the Generation Kids Daily Devo podcast, where we move from wonder to worship, looking for God at work in the world around us, ready to ask the tough questions and discover what His Word has to say to us. Today's episode is titled, For Goodness Sake, and it comes from me, Casey Taylor. Peer pressure is one of the most intense pressures a kid can face. It doesn't necessarily get any easier when you're older either. You just have more experience dealing with it, and for some people that helps you grow in your resolve not to give in to peer pressure. But man, when you're young, sometimes you give in to whatever the peer pressure is just to take the heat off of you. I remember playing baseball early on in high school and spending time with guys I truly cared for, but who loved to try and push me beyond my limits as a young man trying to follow Jesus. They would make fun of me and the words that I used instead of cursing, and laugh at how goofy I sounded trying to deal with the frustrating situations I would face, like striking out or making an error in the field or just wishing I did better at something, without saying the normal four-letter words that everyone else were using. Most of my friends poked fun at me a little, but there were a few guys that I played with that genuinely wanted to break me, and to show me and, I think, God, that they didn't need Him, and that they rejected the idea of the God that I served. So they tried to bait me by saying rude things about me, and when that didn't work, they'd try and insult God and say some pretty awful things about Him. Now I know God doesn't need me to back Him up, and He definitely wasn't threatened by a 10th grader, but He also didn't want me to lose myself and lose the character that He'd been building up within me, just to rise up aggressively against a kid who was definitely hurt by the idea of God, and maybe in response to some hard things that he was going through, which I can relate to. Sometimes it's hard to hold the idea of a loving God, while at the same time carrying the baggage of a painful past. Whether we're kids or adults, when people insult you, make life difficult for you, or in some places across the world look to actually try and harm you because of your love and commitment to Jesus, this is what the Bible calls persecution. This is what Jesus is addressing here in Matthew 5, verse 10.
Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:10.
Persecution largely deals with a hardened heart and aggression from another person towards you simply because you're a Christian. We're not talking about little jabs or jokes here and there, but actions or words motivated by hate or aggression towards you because of your faith in Jesus. But what Jesus tells us, and all of those that He taught during this sermon, was that to stand firm and to remain steadfast in our commitment to Him in the face of insults, injury, and injustice is the loyalty and faith required to become a citizen of the kingdom of God. The Bible tells us that without faith, it is impossible to please God. And so to stand strong in the face of hate and to love those who hate you, to let insults or injuries sting, but not to change your heart towards those who Jesus tells us to love, and to not abandon Jesus just to have relief, is to demonstrate true faith, true loyalty, and it is a sign that you are truly His, with all of the inherited rights of being a child of God, including reigning with Him into eternity as sons and daughters and heirs to the kingdom. So while the darkness tries all it can to overshadow the light, be encouraged and reminded of what John told us about Jesus, who gives us His light. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. We know who wins the war, so don't lose hope or lose faith when the darkness comes on strong, because the light will always, eventually, pierce and cast out the darkness with the eternal light of Jesus.
Now it's time for
Today's Big Question!
Today's big question is, has anyone ever tried to tear you down, hurt your feelings, or hurt you because of your faith in Jesus? If they have, first of all, I know that can be hard, and I want you to know that it matters. You matter, and that pain you feel grieves God's heart. But He sees you, and He loves you. He can also use that pain, because like Jesus on the cross prayed for those who hurt Him, and even for one of the other sinners who was being crucified at the same time as Jesus, He can save them when their eyes are opened to the love of God. So pray for those who have hurt you. You never know how He'll use your pain. maybe even to help bring others into the kingdom with you. Thanks for listening to the Generation Kids Daily Devo podcast. If you want to keep in touch with us on all our social media platforms, check out the links in the description. And if you'd like to help support us as we continue to create meaningful content for kids of all generations, please subscribe to our Patreon by visiting us at patreon.com/wearegenerationkids.